Hey everyone, this is the Kubeflow community call for the 28th of October. As always, we have the CNCF Code of Conduct. Read at your own time, but be nice to each other is the gist of it. We have obviously got the most important thing coming up, which is KubeCon and Kubeflow Summit. So I'm going to let Valentina, who's helping organize that, take it away.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. So as we are prepping for KubeCon, so we are working right now on having the schedule finalized. So we are looking for volunteers to help us at the booth. So at the project pavilion, we will have it's like a small kiosk there, but we always get a lot of people asking different questions, and it's super fun to be there just talking with the community and industry and contributors. So if you have the chance to attend KubeCon, join us. It doesn't mean like if you're just new, for example, to Kubeflow, so you can be there helping us, just maybe talking about your experience with the community and the Kubeflow project or whatever you have done, or just connecting with us. So it's a great way to connect with the community. So we have our spreadsheet there on the meeting notes. So add your name. There are different schedules that you can choose. If you don't know the schedule yet, add your name at the bottom of the spreadsheet. The second thing that we are looking is if you want to do a demo of a project that you're working on, maybe you are a contributor that you just created something that, you know, on any of the project that somebody saying it's great, but or maybe it's just your new project and you want to showcase how to work with Kubeflow and what was your development process. I don't know, maybe you just want to, you know, show that, or if you want to show functionality or want to show integrations, like I'm planning on doing some demos with integrations with other products, so such as Backstage, and you know, I did some sessions on other events, so I may do some of that. So you're welcome. Everyone is welcome to do some demos. So just keep in mind that we are hoping to not be more than 15, 30 minutes. So add your name on the spreadsheet. There is a new tab that is called demos. So you can add your name there and you can add the title, a short description of the demo. Yeah, exactly. On the second tab. Yeah, so just ensure that you will be doing the demos on the schedule where we have our kiosk, because the kiosk will be shared with other projects. So we will be in the afternoon. So just keep that in mind.
So can you explain that? So does that mean that we won't have a place that's always called Kubeflow like last time, or?
Yeah, exactly. So usually the way it works, that same kiosk is used with multiple projects because there are so many amazing projects at the Climate Computing Foundation. So we are lucky to have the afternoon, which will be more busy,
Yeah.
and I guess it will be more attended. So
Quick question,
so yeah.
Valentina. Just is the reason we don't have a permanent one because we're not a graduated project? Is that? I think it must
I
be,
don't
right?
know. Maybe Jorge will know. I don't know. I don't know
Actually,
about
Jorge,
that.
that's a really good. George, that's a really good question. Yeah, can you tell us?
Yeah, you get more dedicated shifts when you're graduated. I
Cool. I
think
just wanted to make sure because I just want to have another incentive. Yeah.
yes, for sure.
Nice.
Thanks. Good
Good to know.
And also, so in that vein, so should we be then listing out the demos and then kind of organizing the times, or because there's like in my mind there's two problems, right? There's that we have to find the demos that we want to do, and then
Yeah.
separately, how many hours do we have to fill? Okay, I guess that's the first question, and then the second question is, which of the demos do we want to do, and who has time to do them at the time that they're available? You know, because some people might be talking or at other events, you know, at specific times. So
Yeah. So we want to be very open and be, you know, allowing people to do any type of demos that they may want to show. Of course, Kubeflow needs to be the main project that you are showing. So you don't need to be on full duty at the booth. Maybe you just have 30 minutes or 15 minutes in the afternoon. It needs to be in the afternoon when we do have the kiosk. So whatever of those times, could be Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday afternoon, starting, so the times are like Tuesday, starting at 2:30 p.m. So between those schedules, you can do a demo. So just list it there, add your title, your description. I do want us to be collaborative on this. So if as I mentioned, if there is someone who's just getting started with Kubeflow and I want to show how I did my first contribution, I think it could be a fantastic topic to, motivate others. If there is more advanced demos to show, like, hey, we want to show, I don't know, an SDK, a new release, the trainer, V2. I don't know, there are many different things, or a use case, or someone maybe from the industry, an end user, they want to show what they are doing. Or maybe how they can integrate Kubeflow with different products or different projects. So that it's a lot of opportunity here. So
we should definitely reserve some
mm-hmm.
time for not just demos though, right? Like we should have like some talking. And I think, and that's what we were talking last week about, having like impromptu material that's been created by the various working groups. So like if someone asks a question about notebooks or asks a question about pipelines, that there's like a, an official slide deck, you know what I mean? Or something that whoever's at the booth can be like, here is the slide deck for the question you just asked, like that seems reasonable. But
yeah, no, that's a great idea. I think we did something similar. I think Chase created one for last summer we have. So let me try to track that one. Yeah, because I mean, I don't know if we will have as many demos that we will not have time to, discuss. I don't know, I hope. But if not, people who are there will be just, if you have a shift there at the kiosk, you will be just talking with people. It will be, as Matthew said, it will be nice to have a deck.
Or multiple decks. Like that's on. So I want to support whoever is standing there, because like for example, I wouldn't be able to answer questions easily about this current state of Katib or Trainer. Obviously I can answer questions about notebooks, but if the person who comes up really wants to know about Trainer, I would like to be able to at least have some talking points that I could show them. You know what I mean? Like that kind of.
Yeah. No, that's good.
And I think we last time said like let's try and get a list of slide decks. I think Model Registry already provided one. I think. Right. And I don't. So where was this being provided? I remember. Was it in Slack somewhere, or was it someone DMing me? I don't remember. The point is, we should make a list and then let's formalize it a little bit, and then have some notes with each slide. I think so that anyone could, like, really just simple stuff. Like stuff that you would expect a random KubeCon attendee to ask. If they're obviously a really technical question, no. But like that's just, I feel like, because we're trying to sell the project in some sense. Would you agree?
Yeah. We're trying to bring awareness on the project, So yeah, let me connect on that with, I don't know, Tarek maybe was already working on it.
I think Tarek, I think maybe last week or something. All I know is that we'd already started adding. So there we go. Let's add these down here. Slide requests. Okay, yeah. So someone actually, Model Registry already added theirs. So let's. And then so demos, and so for demos, we do need to obviously do the thing you were just saying, which is have people suggest their demos. But
yeah, no, that's great. So if working groups, if you are here, please add a slide deck that we can reuse of high level overview of your project, but also how to contribute. So
and think about diagrams. I just want to highlight diagrams being like that. Usually the thing that visual things, because like there'll be a person talking to it in front of it. So if someone asks, why should I use Model Registry rather than MLflow, we should have like a prepared response for that kind of thing, or something. That, like in the case of Model Registry.
So what I will do, I will add a few items. So for example, Model Registry, we need to include like how people can contribute, when are the community meetings, how they can join, so we want to, bring them closer to the community.
We should have a community one, yeah. How to contribute, how, like things like that. I agree, yeah.
And also like if there are like current users, we can also share there is a form that they can fill out and submit
add yourself.
Adoption as adopters.
This is a good call that we should definitely be, as someone, if anyone says that we should have a couple of notes for the people at the booth being like, if someone says they use Kubeflow, be like, hey, add your name.
Exactly. I was on a conference the other day and they were like, we contribute. I was like, well, it would be great to have you on these meetings, community meetings. So we can let them know, like, and bring them closer to the community, like, join the community meetings and also like fill out the adopters, be part of the community and be up to speed on the news and so on? Do you want to contribute to a blog? I don't know. There are many opportunities who
Well, like
they
even
can
just getting on the
contribute.
adopters file, like even
Yeah,
that
at
is
least that. Yeah.
yeah.
That would be great. Yeah, absolutely.
And so we should have a
So
doc which says, yeah, because like I think that will get even if we get nothing else, that's a very valuable thing.
yeah. And if you are here also and you're thinking about young caring, and if you have more ideas, so we do have a Slack, the outreach channel. If you want to bring more ideas about like, hey, what about, I don't know, I'm doing a virtual thing, I don't know, next month, and I want people to know about it. So that's the other thing. If you have something that you know people at KubeCon to know about your project, and announcements, any changes, next release, I don't
Yeah,
know,
for example, we're
anything.
definitely talking about Notebooks 2.0. Like we've got a slide deck we're preparing for that, which is obviously going to be for a lot of
Fantastic.
people going to be a big question about, okay, so what's happening to the old version? You know, all these normal questions you'd expect people to have, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So
All
yeah,
right.
let's is
Yeah.
there so for demos though. So I guess do we want people to how
Just
do we
yeah.
we should request that they add like a Google Doc, is it? Or how do they link to it? Because presumably they can't just write out a full demo information
They
here.
could, yeah, they could link Google Drive or a link for the video.
I think slides.
Yeah,
I think slides on the left. We should definitely have
or
like
slides. Yeah.
slides link. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's good.
Cool. Okay.
Great.
Anything else we need to do then? Let's
No,
talk
reach
about the
out.
specific thing,
Yeah.
I guess, that was asked about this ARM
The
server.
what? Yeah. Can I, before I
Yep.
go into the ad and I hand it over to someone else, I want to just talk about KubeCon Europe. Is that okay? And then we can
Sure,
go
we
back
can
to
come back.
someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah. So KubeCon Europe. So I hope I can make it. I hope you all can make it. And you know, I know it will be a fantastic, amazing event. So as we mentioned before, we are doing a joint event with the Cloud Native AI, and now on Kubeflow Summit. It's a whole new event. So we are thrilled about this opportunity. It will be a bigger collocated event. So it will be amazing. So CFPs are open, and the deadline to submit is November the 2nd. So it's this Sunday. So just take a look. Yes.
I'm just getting the link. I'm just getting the two
Yeah.
event pages linked here. So there's separately one for the co-located events and one for Europe, just like normal, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So now it's called Cloud Native AI and plus Kubeflow Day. The event is March 23rd. Is in Amsterdam, which is a beautiful city. But also, yeah, you can if you scroll down on the call for proposals. So there are a lot of topics you can still submit until this Sunday. So you still have some days. So please submit. If you are new, submit if
I
you have an
presume we're
idea.
expecting people to submit under this section.
Yes.
Under this
Yes, we
line.
should.
Yes.
Yeah,
Cool.
exactly. Yeah.
So we want this
exactly.
one to have lots of people. So yes, let's submit under this one. How many do we know how many slots we have?
So we will have around, I think we said, oh my God, Andre, do you remember 20-30%, something around that?
How many? Is it a full day
yeah.
event or is it a half day?
Is it a full day event? We will have 2 tracks, and we will have half of the second track or first track dedicated to us, which is like, 25-30% submissions dedicated to Kubeflow. So we are expanding.
Is that this one? I presume the 2 tracks will probably be this one and this one, right? Or like end-to-end AIML or
So the 2 tracks will be the whole event. The sessions, I think, I don't know. I don't know if it will be like how I can say mixed in between. I don't know if we will have like a half track dedicated. I don't know, but in proportion, it will be around that. So they are expanding also the cloud native AI thing. So it could be a great opportunity as well if you are working with other projects and Kubeflow. You could submit as well, and to increase Kubeflow visibility in other cloud native tools. So the idea, we wanted to bring all those communities together because with AI, with everything that's going on,
it's in the Netherlands as well.
Yeah,
and it's presumably the day before the main event as well, right? Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Cool. And so we should also remind people, even if you're not going to talk, you should buy tickets now because it's cheaper.
Yeah. How much is it right now?
Register. I'm just gonna go on a separate screen in case it shows me my email. No, it's fine. There we go. Awesome. Okay. So I think we're still in early bird until November 19th. I'm gonna write that as a note.
Yeah. Great. Thank you.
Tickets, because people, you got to get your company to approve your travel soon, and then your company pays less. Of course, if you're a company, you do have to pay the corporate rates. If you're a sponsor, obviously you get free tickets, but only up to the level that you sponsor. But the reason why the corporate tickets cost more is so it's depending on who's paying. If you yourself are paying, and George can correct me here, but I believe the policy is that it's based on who's paying. So if you personally are paying, then it's the individual rate. But if it's your company, it's the company rate, and that's so that it's cheaper for everyone else. Am I right, George?
Yes. And also remember, if you're a maintainer, there's a scholarship that you can apply for leading up to a KubeCon, but the deadline for this one is already passed.
Oh, we should have noted about that. Okay, that's good.
Yes.
Okay, so how much is the scholarship? Is it just full? Or?
No, what you do is this is in the emails and all that stuff that you get. You just apply, and then there's a big pool.
Register. So is it the same as normal where you have to register for all access?
I don't know the exact details. I do know that we publish it, and there's a deadline, and there's a scholarship thing.
Oh, sorry. I meant just in general though. So for this one, right? Like to get to, it will be the same, right? KubeCon, all access. It's all you need to have all access. I just want to highlight that to people because their company knows that.
I think so. Like if you want to be able to get into the booth and all that stuff, and all.
Oh no, so getting into the booth is a sponsor ticket, but you mean
okay.
You mean early? I mean, but to go to KubeCon, I mean whatever we're calling Kubeflow Summit, whatever we're calling it.
Right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you need the all access for that because that's a co-located event. Also, something I should say, when you apply for the scholarship, they take stuff into consideration, like whether you're unemployed or lost your job or got laid off and stuff. So it's a great program.
When is the deadline for the next one?
It is somewhere on the website.
Okay, we should probably.
I'm working on a way to make that very searchable for you, but I don't have anything for you today. It's buried in there somewhere.
I imagine that it probably won't come up until the KubeCon NA is passed anyway, right? So.
Oh yeah, for sure. The deadline, however, is usually like a month or two before, so you want to get in early.
Before what? Sorry.
Before the actual event. Like you'll apply for the scholarship. The deadline is like a month.
Are we sure that Europe hasn't passed? Has it already passed then?
I don't know, man. Open a browser tab.
Yeah. This is my problem. Okay, anyway, cool. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna leave that as an exercise for the reader. Okay, sorry. If you know that you need a scholarship, check. Oh, it says down here.
Okay. It's okay. Additional information scholarship. Yeah.
Okay, February. Yeah.
There we go. Look at that.
Okay, I'm gonna put that as a link. Okay.
Yeah, and for a lot of these, make sure you're in the maintainer file and all that good stuff. Keep your metadata correct.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Okay, so what else are we doing for this one? So just asking for papers right now?
Yes.
So if you're a maintainer of a Kubeflow component, submit your papers for both KubeCon and the co-located event, I guess.
I think KubeCon already passed.
Ah, you're right, actually has.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool.
Okay. Okay, I'm good to. We can move on again to talk about
So let's briefly go over this. We don't want to spend too much time. I mean, I'm sure that everyone wants to hear about it though. So Jeffrey, do you want to say what you were wanting to say? Sorry, I've just thrown you under the bus. Hello.
Hello. I wasn't mute myself. Sorry about that. May I share the screen?
If you need to, is it something that you could just link me, or is it?
It's a PowerPoint. So
okay, you can share if you need to. Keep it. Let's try and keep it not taking forever. But yeah.
I'm quite sure to very short.
Yep. Let's just focus on the questions that we need for the community to solve, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
But yeah, it's always good to have free things. So,
so this one is called Flyaway Kit. We built with Next Computing. This one was loading with Ultra Max and 128 30 CPU, and we put it into the luggage just like this. On the right, we have the luggage for transportation. On the left, we have three server, two 1U server and one 2U server in the luggage. And as you see the back, we can connect to the network cable and also have a power cable as well, and all have a VGA connector. If you need to show the console, they can do it both. And this is how usually people can see on the demo booth. For the better airflow and also thermodynamic, it's put into on the right side position. And
So I have a question, and Jorge, do you know if we have enough space to have this, or do we need to request like any permission to the CNCF to to bring all this server?
I think we'll be good.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. And
yeah,
so,
we might need to be clever, but we'll be good.
I mean, this is very helpful. Of course, I have two questions for other people, which is, are you guys going to be taking ownership of it? You know, so like, obviously it won't be, presumably, George can confirm, sorry. I presume we're not allowed to keep it at the booth if we're not at the booth, right? So someone will need to have it somewhere.
I recommend locking it in the booth underneath when you're gone, or
is there space for that?
Just find me. We'll find a place for it.
We can put it in I've got a hotel room that's right beside the camp place anyway. So if we
yeah, me too, but we don't want to do that. There's
yeah.
a centralized place where we can do staff storage.
Okay, cool. Actually, and also we can probably put it at one of the company booths that is represented here as well, because like I'm sure one of the big companies has a big booth, so I'm sure there'll be space for something like this. Okay.
Yeah. We'll figure something out. This isn't a problem. We're good. The workstations we've put larger workstations on the.
This is more than a workstation. This is like a 4U server, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, you're talking about this one right here on the left, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll totally fit.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I'm just making sure that we've got plans for it. So, Jeffrey, my question for you then is, logistically, are you bringing this or who's bringing this?
We're going to ship to my hotel. I'm going to carry over on the first day to the booth. And that's the currently plan.
Okay. And so how are we going to structure it from like a software perspective?
Currently, I'm going to provision the system, install operating system, install Kubernetes, and deploy Kubeflow for ON64. This is an ON64 server. I don't see they have an image, so I built by myself with the GitHub repo. So I have all the image on Docker Hub. So I already modified the manifest and to using the image. So I have successfully deployed Kubeflow on top of it.
Which most of the images are which I mean, other than you mean pipelines?
Yes, I mean pipeline. Yes.
So we should there are other components as well. Like, so I guess the question is, I mean, yeah, I mean, I just want to make sure it's useful for the various demos. Like, for example, I don't know if the state of Notebooks 2.0 will be ready. Notebooks 2.0 supports ARM, obviously, but I just want to, yeah, so.
If you have a specific way with the modify the manifest, let me know. I can.
Okay, that's actually my main question. Okay, so what Kubernetes distribution are you using?
Microcase.
Okay.
Do you want me to use the vanilla version?
Sorry.
Vanilla version, which means I can use in kubespread to install it. So that's the vanilla version of Kubernetes. That could be 1.31.13 or even
yeah, I'm just wondering, yeah, because my only real question is whether we can have multiple Kubernetes clusters running. You know what I mean? Like, so like if we have like a test, for two different things.
So this is a 3 server.
Okay.
You can make in single node, so you have 3 different Kubernetes.
It depends on what we want to demo, I guess. So I guess we should coordinate with. So do you have a specific demo you want to give, Jeffrey?
I want to show Kubeflow on 64. So sure. Any kind of demo is workable and work on. I'm going to also have a speech, so I'm going to mention this this demo into in my speech, so let people know, hey, go to the booth, check this demo unit.
Also, if you're going to have a which at the KubeCon or at the Kubeflow Summit?
On the Kubeflow Summit, okay. I have a lightning speech.
Okay. We should make sure that we make use of this, Valentina. You know what I mean? If we have some, because obviously some of Kubeflow can't run on ARM, most of it can, but and obviously GB200, GB300 are ARM servers, so the future of Kubeflow needs to run on ARM. But the yeah, so I guess let's just logistically plan this. If it's going to be there, we might as well make use of it. maybe we should discuss this in the channel.
Yeah, I'm wondering, so in terms of being the equipment being safe, so because we are only, so it's the idea to have this every afternoon, I guess, or is it just for one day?
It can be actually, I believe we can use in the full 4 days, not just 1 day.
Okay, so if we do that, like who will ensure that it's safe? Like, because if we lock, then the other project needs to open, I guess, that door behind it. I don't know how, are you planning like to bring them every day and then moving back?
I can
in the
bring every
afternoon?
day and bring to a hotel and come back to you. every
Yeah.
day.
So like, let's leave it to
Okay.
let's leave it to Ampere
Okay.
to decide the custody situation of it. But in the days that
Okay.
we need it, I'm sure we can have it, right?
Okay, fantastic. That's great. Okay, no, that's fantastic. If you're not on the outreach channel, please join and also, you know, share. I will share the details, but in case people wants to ask you a question, I think this is fantastic. So
we
thank
should
you.
have what we should say on the channel or something is that if you have a demo that needs physical hardware and can run on ARM, we should coordinate so that it's like setting it up, you know, because for example, Notebooks 2.0 is going to keep developing up until the day of the release, you know, and we might have a demo ready to just like do in person then, you know. I'm sure that the Notebooks leads will love this. Obviously seems unlikely, but I'm assuming there's no GPUs in the server.
Yeah, they have only one server have a GPU.
Okay, what type of GPU?
I believe the NVIDIA RTX 4000.
Interesting. Is there space for GPUs in other servers?
No, that only have limited space for one use server.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, cool. I'm just if one of them has a GPU, that's helpful from a scheduling perspective, just to show that at least.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Thank you. So I guess so you're not really adding a demo, or you should add your own demo as well, I guess then. You know what I mean? I would suggest that you propose your own demo so you definitely make use of it.
Yeah, definitely.
And maybe so specify if it's like pipelines that you're demoing or what it is that you're demoing. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Just quick question. If you have a way to using manifest to install Kubeflow pipeline 2.14.3, I believe. That's the version I try to using, but currently I have to follow the manifest to install pipeline 2.5. So
you can just go with the master branch, I think.
But that might change between now and then.
Yeah, then use the current commit of the master branch. You should be fine with that.
I see.
But not with ARM, right? That's the problem we're talking about.
I also built 2.14.3 image on Docker Hub as well, so I can modify that container image link.
So to be clear, you managed to get the because I know that pipelines 2.0 has less problems, but the 1.0 compatibility layer for pipelines doesn't work properly with ARM. Is that still true on your design?
In current tests, I have some problem because they're using the x86 container image for Python 3.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, and then building that for ARM wasn't possible, but now in my testing. But yeah.
So that's why I want to use in 2.0 pipeline 2.0, which is 2.14.3.
I mean, to be clear, 2.0 supports 2.1 as backwards compatibility. But anyway, you should if you're going to do a pipelines demo, let's separately coordinate this with the pipelines people.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. And maybe bring it to the pipelines community meeting and say, hey, I've got a demo that I'm going to do, and so that they can help.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you. Anyone else got anything we need to add here? I'll share my screen now if you can stop for a second. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's great. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Okay. Anything else on KubeCon before we move off? So the dates are November 10th. And I believe George maybe actually should confirm here as well. If you are a listed maintainer, I think there's like an event on the 9th as well. Is that right?
There's all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do those invites just get sent directly out, or how does that work?
Are you talking about the maintainer summit?
Yeah,
I think that deadline closed a very long time ago.
Yes, I know. I'm just...
Yeah, but if you're lost, I will be there with you at the project pavilion, and I will find stuff for you to do if you're looking for things.
Yep, I'll be walking around. Okay, cool.
Yeah, we'll be very, very busy. So yeah, it'll be awesome though. Trust me.
On the 10th, or you mean on the 11th? You mean, I presume.
All days.
Cool. Sounds good.
And then follow up with me. I'll send you my signal number for the hardware. If I can get you in a day early during setup, I'll try to do that.
Also, yeah, do you have a sponsor ticket, Jeffrey? You should, right?
I have a ticket, yes.
But is it a sponsor ticket?
Yeah, sometimes they might not let you in, but I'll be with you. So if you can't get in,
And speaker
Oh yeah, because that speaker ticket isn't a sponsor ticket, unfortunately. And
yeah,
so,
it's all right. Well, I'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Just make sure, because we
hardware
had
will
that
be
problem
there if
last
you
time.
want. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So yeah, definitely connect with George on Slack, please.
Okay, thank you.
Sounds good. Awesome. Let's move on. Okay, is Amber here? I don't think so. We probably should quickly go over the KSC elections if someone has any visibility here. Okay. Everyone who seems to know about this, I think, is away right now. So maybe, I don't know, the current state looks like we're in nominations until November 2nd. Okay, so I guess if you're, where is the nomination link? I think it is, does anyone have the link? Let me just get, okay, Kubeflow community, I think it's in the community repo. I'm just finding it, and then we'll move on. Yeah, I found it. Okay, cool. It's this one here. Oh, I've lost it. There it is. There we go. Okay, if you haven't already nominated someone, please do so before 2nd. They have to be obviously an eligible voter to be able to be nominated, but that is the only requirement. Well, and obviously some other things, but read the rules. Okay, anyone else want anything to say here? I don't really have anything to say because I'm not running this, but cool. Okay, I think, Andre, we should do a quick update on what the heck's happening with graduation, maybe just as always.
Yeah, I'm wondering, George, if you have any updates. Like my only question is here, do we have anyone from the TOC who has been kind of assigned to us or not yet?
Look at the issue. Is someone assigned to it?
No, it had like I don't see any updates like from September.
Yeah,
dates.
we need to get someone assigned to it. Is the next step.
Do you know like how we can move this forward somehow, or we should just wait?
You're just waiting for the talk. It's a huge backlog.
Yeah, so we're moving up the list. Like I can see it.
Yeah. This is just when we're hanging out at the project pavilion and we see talk members. That's when we mosey on over there.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
And like one question, so the TAC members, they're not kind of ready to accept other projects until they kind of finish, the rest, right?
Yes, the column is in the order that they're reviewing stuff.
So we are moving up the column. It's slow, but we are slowly. Okay, cool. So I guess the status is that we believe we're ready, but I guess we need to just wait.
Yeah, we'll go. I mean, Andre, you and I will go. I'm sure Anna Check will be within arm's reach, and we'll go and we'll do the, hey, what would it take to get you to get assigned on Kubeflow? How can we help you? That kind of thing. Make it easy for them. I was hoping that someone would have volunteered by now, but we're just gonna have to.
Didn't we used to have someone assigned to like kind of sponsor it, or did that kind of fall apart?
I don't know, but if you look at all the other ones,
yeah,
you can see none of them have them sponsored.
We did have someone originally. That's kind of what we should probably reach out. Who was that person?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, cool. Anyway,
Ricardo was helping us before, but I think this is different.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We should reach out to them then. So are they a talk
for sure? 100%.
Andre, do you want to own that, or do you want to?
No, I think we all should be doing that. Yeah, like if I see a talk member, I might bring them over to the booth, that kind of thing. So
sounds good. Thank you, George, for your support.
Yeah, that's just, it's one of those, like, we got to be squeaky and keep saying, hey, we're ready. Hey, we're ready.
Cool. Okay, anything else we can do here then other than
Yeah, maybe quickly. So I know that security. So if you remember, right, we've done security audit in July. So
Done
they
here,
want to
yeah.
announce the audit results in KubeCon.
When you
And I
say
think
announce, who's they, sorry?
the company who was doing the security audit.
Are we sure that there's no currently unpatched vulnerabilities that were there?
Yeah, so this is what they're asking, right? I mean, if maintainers have any concerns, just you need to do it ASAP. Otherwise, they're just going to, publish it
Yeah, we should
publicly.
definitely okay, that's actually really urgent. We should definitely make sure that, and so they're planning to do it at the main KubeCon.
Yeah, I think so.
So we should definitely, everyone who's a maintainer needs to review that and put an embargo on something that if you haven't patched it yet, please. I really don't want unpatched vulnerabilities being talked about. There needs to have been a patch available for some period of time as well. Like it can't just be, you can't just release it the day before, that's a massive, that
So yeah, you have
unacceptable.
to move X maintainers, like if you
So we
have
should, Andre, do you want to personally book a time where you and me just go through and just like tag anyone that we think isn't done?
Imagine myself, I don't have time. Like
I know, yeah, damn it. Okay, I'll make sure that Notebooks does it, and but it's, yeah, okay. We really need to encourage people to do that. I mean, if they don't do it, then that's a normal security thing, right? Where you just disclose without fixing, but it doesn't look good for us, so. Doesn't help our graduation case. Sorry. Okay, Andre, is there any, okay. Anything else? So
No, we can move on.
Note to maintainers, security audit people are wanting to publicly share the report. Is that right?
Yep, that's right.
Each WG should sign off that no unpatched security issues or like serious unpatched security issues are disclosed in the report. Like this is really critical. Cool. Okay. Okay, cool. Let's make sure we do that. Okay, KFP proposal. I know there's a new cap.
Awesome. I'll share screen.
Okay, cool. Let me stop sharing. Okay.
All right, yeah, I won't go too in depth on the KEP, but I just wanted to provide a bit of an overview and hopefully tease enough for you to want to read it. But essentially, what we're proposing is to have a separate repo for reusable KFP components. And if you're not familiar with what a component is, essentially just a step in a pipeline. So in the big pipelines mono repo, there's already a components directory, but it's not really maintained. It's kind of inconsistent in terms of structure, governance, maintenance, dependencies being updated, et cetera, testing. And so the goal is essentially to deprecate and remove this components directory and have a new repo with all of those things accounted for. So at a high level, essentially, it's just you have components, pipelines, and then within each directory, there's categories. And then within that is the component name. And then there's some specific files and stuff like that that you need to define. But essentially, you'll have your own owner's file and you can do the maintenance of that specific component. Same for pipelines. This would be bundled up as a Python package. And one of the open questions is if it should be its own Python package or in the Kubeflow SDK directly. But the idea being is that it's released at the same time as the Kubeflow platform. So if there's any pipelines that are tying together different Kubeflow components, the user can just pip install this Python package and then import the components like it's a normal Python function essentially, and build their own pipelines that way. And this section here is essentially like the core components and pipelines that are maintained by Kubeflow community members. But for outside folks that are maybe involved in Kubeflow but aren't maintainers or contributors, we'll have a third-party section, and that's really to accommodate some of the existing components that are in here today. But these would be packaged separately as a separate Python package, so the user would have to opt in to leverage those. But it'll follow pretty much the same requirements. It's just that the ownership of these are not from the Kubeflow community. It goes into detail, essentially, the KEP of like what the requirements are around like defining metadata about the components. And I won't go into depth here, but encourage you to take a look. And like I said, the two main open questions from our end is where should the repo live, like which GitHub org. I think there's a Kubeflow and a Kubeflow contrib, if I'm not mistaken, GitHub orgs. And then if we should include the core components and pipelines directly in the Kubeflow SDK, or if it should be its own Python package. Dependencies shouldn't be a concern because all dependencies needed for the component itself are imported directly in the component because they're only used at runtime for the pipeline step. So it should just be pretty much KFP plus some standard library imports. So just wanted to raise awareness here. I guess one other thing I want to mention too is that having this structured layout with like consistent CI and ways of building the catalog, where it's like READMEs essentially linking to the different components and pipelines, we'll probably be able to generate a GitHub Pages website that gives that catalog experience. But it also allows like some third-party vendors that are in the components directory here in the pipelines repo today to just copy our repo structure and have their own repo that follows the same guidelines, and then any tooling that we create on top of that structure they can also reuse. But it allows like an easy way for kind of third-party vendors to not have to contribute to our repo, and they can just reuse our structure and governance model. So any questions or comments, Andre?
Yeah, I think this is great. Thanks, Matt. I wish I have time to take a look at the KEP. I think I like the idea that Kubeflow SDK provide a base of the core components, and maybe you can have an API like, you know, 2 KFP components kind of transformation for every, you know, like API we maintain there. So that will make it super easy for folks to create KFP components from their train jobs or optimization jobs or Spark jobs eventually. In terms of like the repo, we can definitely talk about it. I think initially I'm fine to create another repo in the Kubeflow org, right? So you can at least move forward. And the only like question, if we're going to maintain this in the Kubeflow org, what would be the expectations from our users, right? Because that will not solve the problem of unmaintained components, right? Which been staying there for years.
Yeah, so I'm trying to take into that account. Essentially, I want maintainers to bump this last verified metadata field periodically to show that's still maintained. And after 9 months, we'll have automation that creates a GitHub issue, pings them to see if it's still maintained. And then after a year, just remove it. So we want to have like very strict guidelines of like, let's just not have these things that sit there for years that haven't been re-verified.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you kind of want to migrate only components which have been active in the last 2 years?
The idea being is that we'll give like the community about 60 days to like migrate over components from the main repo after we have all the structure set up. And then at that point, I think we're just going to delete the components, but I don't think there's any of them here that the KFP working group maintains. I think they're all like third party. So we would ask them to migrate any ones that are relevant.
So how do you deal with versioning on the, because obviously the component is just a YAML file primarily that points you to container images. So how does that relate to, you know, like, do we allow people to bring their own container images? What do we do?
Yeah, well, we'll be packaging the Python source of it, but yeah, it can compile to a YAML.
So do we require
so
the Docker file to be in the repo is what I'm asking.
no. So you can define the base image to use with it, but it's not something that we necessarily want to like be building container images for. And so like we'll have to figure out, I guess, like if we do need like third-party or custom base images for our core components, we'll have to figure out how to ship those and where to store those. But for the most part, you can.
Yeah. I'm just a little bit worried about allowing anyone to link to any container image that we don't have custody over.
Yeah. And so I think on the core side, like we got to be careful about that. But under third party, I think we can be a little bit looser about that because it's like, it's not something we're necessarily vouching for. It's just someone in the community wanting to contribute this, and maybe they need custom container images. I don't foresee ours components needing too many custom container images. For the most part, you can use like just like the base Python image and specify a few additional Python packages to install at runtime. But we could consider having our own custom images as well.
So in that vein, I think the main things that I want to understand is like kind of the policies around the repo, right? So like I think we should have pretty clear policies around, you've talked about some kind of ideas around removing them and stuff, but I think even stuff like, okay, what kind of component would we accept? And from who, And like, so do we accept literally from random people, or do they have to be representative of the maintainer of the thing they're integrating with? Or, and I think another one, I think from what we've just said though, is I really think we should draw a pretty hard line and say, you have to use a Docker file that's in the repo if you're using a custom one, and then we build it in the CI. I think that would be my suggestion. People can disagree, but I just think from a security perspective, if you get it by default by pip installing KFP, it can't have any possibility of the definition of the container not being under our control, if you know what I mean. Like,
that's a good idea. Yeah. Okay. I'll add that to the proposal. And if you want to comment on it directly,
it's like we could have like a folder in the structure called
Mhm.
containers, and then we could have an automated build system that picks up maybe a YAML. Maybe we should use like a bake file from Docker, or some kind of standard so that users can do that. But
yes.
yeah, and then because I really want them all on the GHCR for Kubeflow. That's kind of my perspective there.
Okay.
Just like people can disagree. Andre, do you agree with that security kind of?
No, I'm
assessment?
just wondering why you said like, I kind of like I don't understand, like when you say those will be part of KFP SDK, what do you mean? Those components stay just on the repo, right? Like in a YAML file.
If they're part of an official Kubeflow SDK install.
No, we're not talking about third-party components. I don't think third-party components should be a part of our Kubeflow SDK, right?
Right. Yeah. Right. So
but if they're on our repo,
it's only in the repo, right? Similar to what we have right now in the Kubeflow /pipelines.
So then how are you versioning them if you're not installing them?
I guess it's up to the maintainers. Yeah,
no. I mean, like, how are we versioning them,
So the proposal is that every time we release the Kubeflow platform, we also cut a release of this components repo. And then there's a Python package versioned that corresponds with that.
I think maybe for the third-party ones, we should have their own versioning for them, maybe like as sub packages. I don't know. Actually, it's an interesting question because like what they do in Airflow is they have versions for each of their providers, as they call them. But then a specific release of Airflow has default provider version with it, if you know what I mean. But so for clarity though, the version here is for the YAML, right? Because technically speaking, the YAML is actually the metadata is the thing, right? Or
well, it's like this component.py file. Like it's a Python that compiles to the YAML. But yes, you're gonna have essentially that Python source code, and then we'll be enforcing like a metadata.yaml file that has to live alongside of it, of just like mentioning things like the KFP version that you need, external dependencies of like, say this integrates with Kubeflow Trainer, it needs that specific version, level of stability of the component itself. But rather than have each component be versioned, like to me, it's made sense to just like cut a release with the Kubeflow platform, and then just kind of the assumption of if you have that version of the Kubeflow platform installed, this component will work in that environment.
So my question is, how do I, as a user, consume it? I think that's a story that's missing here, right? Like, which is
yeah. So the user pip installs the Python package, whatever we name it, and then they just import the component into the pipeline that they're building.
So what if they want to? Because like obviously a production pipeline might, let's say a production pipeline's using one of the steps. I obviously don't want random changes in the definition of my pipeline that I haven't tested. So how do I do that?
Well, you pin to a specific version off of PyPy for the Python package.
But then what
Like
if that
it's just a
version
dependency.
is, you know what I mean, different to the version that's like my, if that's, so if it's in the SDK, that's a separate thing. But if it's, say it's its own package even, how do I?
Yeah, so whenever we release Kubeflow, we would be cutting a release of this reusable components.
I guess
repo.
that's similar to the provider idea for Airflow.
Yeah, so even if nothing changes, we'll still bump the version, re-release it, so that way the versions, at least the X and Y in the version, will be the same. So like I installed this version of Kubeflow, then I know to use this specific version of the Python package with the components in it.
I think we should look at how Airflow's automated like sub-component structure works. Like I think it is actually quite effective because it has, you know, that metadata you've got there. It's actually got that idea, and then it packages each into their own pip installable sub package, and then the meta package takes those ones in with versions, if you know what I mean. And and it means that someone can change the version if they like, you know what I mean? Like so that like anyway, but I do anyway, I'm not going to try and review it now. I'll review it later. But like, you know, like that's but I do think that from a security perspective, if we just really can't have random pull requests in that point to Quay repos that we don't, you know what I mean? Like just things like that. That's my, you know, because if users run them and then they get hijacked or something like that, that's bad. So
okay.
Yeah. And also it helps with reproducibility, right? Like if we're building the container, and I know it makes it a little bit harder, but like it again, if your goal is to provide a reference that customers could copy and make their own repo from, they're going to want to build their own container images anyway, right? So
yep. Okay, makes sense. And I'll add that to the doc and make it as a requirement for the core components. The third party, I don't know if it's worthwhile to have that because I don't want to be building container images for a third party. Like I just want to maintain the container images required for the core components. So it's like,
but then we need to put a requirement on the third party that they're not allowed to use anything but a certain set of base images or something. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of,
well, I don't know. It's a little looser is kind of how I view it. It's like the core stuff is like we fully support as the Kubeflow community because only Kubeflow approvers or contributors are allowed to contribute and maintain components in the core one. Third party is just like less strict, I would say. Humera, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I mean, again, they're being packaged differently. Third party is more akin to documentation, but they're made easier by also having it packaged. But again, they're packaged differently. They have a different support. We, like Matt said, we vouch for the core component. We have stricter guidelines and we do more testing there and what have you.
Yes, I think that story needs to be kind of fleshed out in the cap, I think, which is like, what is the requirements of the third party one? Because I think we all agree somewhat what the core components would be. Not that there is any, but you know, right now. That's another problem is that you're designing for something that doesn't currently exist. So what would one look like if one did exist?
Yeah, so let's pose those questions on the cap. So
it's a good place to do it. That's the right discussion. That's why we're doing this. Like, and I'm not trying to like stonewall the idea, and I'm not even. It's not my job to do that. I'm just like, as a consumer, I just want to make sure that we create something that's useful. And
of course.
I'm very glad that you guys are doing this. It's been an important thing missing from Kubeflow for a long time. So thank you for this work. Anyone else got anything they want to add? We will. I think we'll very briefly, Andre, talk for like 5 minutes about the next Zoom thing, which. What I think we should do with anyone else before we I
just want to end the topic of the cap with just what do we need to move this forward? So like who do we need acknowledgements from?
Technically a cap can be approved by the KSC. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I'd
Okay.
suggest that I'm not sure who will have time before KubeCon, but
Okay.
let's try and get some reviews done by people, I guess, right?
Sure.
And then keep following it up, and it shouldn't take. Well, we'll see, right? If we can get agreement on the idea of, I think it's these governance questions and the requirements that I'm like, okay, it's like, yeah, that's the parts that I'm, and then the alternatives as well, being like, I do want people to just like explicitly reject the idea that we don't provide any official components at all. You know, like that's like, is there, why are we not considering that as an alternative? You know, like that, I get, there might be reasons, but let's just explicitly list them as to why. But yeah, I'll go through and review.
Yeah, maybe one last thing on that is like part of the motivation of having the reusable components is that it's essentially runnable documentation and just like easy ways to get started. So I've installed Kubeflow. How do I connect all these things together in some sort of workflow? And so they're maybe not meant to be like the answer to every single use case, but it's more of like a teaching tool of how to use the platform, and also for very common cases that are just like the standardized way of doing things, it'd be nice to just like not have to redefine that everywhere. It's just one centralized place that everyone can reuse. So that's some of the other motivation as well.
So it also feels like we should be very clear about to users if that's like like those two things kind of disagree with the idea of an official component section. You know what I mean? Like that, is it like, do I want my users to say use this in your production pipelines if they happen to solve your problem, or are we saying make a fork of the repo, change them how you want? You know what I mean? Like that's kind of, yeah.
I think it's both, right?
Okay.
Like the core ones are production grade, but they might not solve all use cases.
Because if that's the case, then we have to have a contract for support for each one as well. You know what I mean? Be like, okay, yes, there's a level of like deprecation. We don't want this anymore. You know, things like that, right? A process, a life cycle, maybe, right?
Yeah.
But obviously, since there are no production ones, I do really want to get an example of a production one. You know, just because like I think you said that there wasn't any currently.
Yeah, there's not any official ones as far as I know. Do you, Kumair? I can provide one as an example, but
just because like quintessential example, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of, it's very difficult to be talking in abstract. It's like, is there even such a case, right? Because if there's no such case, then maybe the third parties are the only ones we care about, you know, or yeah.
Like I wanted to show like the best practice of like integrating with Kubeflow Trainer from a pipeline step, for example, that sort of thing. I think dockling usage of like how to convert PDFs into Markdown, insert them in vector databases. I think that's a good use case for a standardized component. I don't know if Francisco's on the call, but I think he's been working on some for that. So those are some of the examples, and I can include some in the KEF if that would be helpful.
And we should definitely be very clear around the policies around, okay, like even if it's part of Kubeflow, it doesn't necessarily guarantee that it gets to be in that official component one. You know, like we should be clear about what, that's where I'm saying like the rules around, okay, what is an official one, you know? And I feel like the rules for the official ones need to be extremely carefully defined. The rules for third party still need to as well, but yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, cool. Under any comments here, we should probably talk offline about the meeting, but
I just, again, my 2 cents here, I don't want you guys to be blocked by us. I guess, like, you know, if
are they blocked right now though? They don't have any official ones.
I mean, Humer, like if you think that's for you, it's kind of like, you know, you want to move fast, we can definitely take it up to the KC and just vote. If you think this, that is fine. Again, I don't see any blockers for us to create a repo and then, you know, reiterate if something just doesn't work for us for the long term.
Yeah, that would be helpful. And like for full transparency, like this is part of Red Hat's strategy and they want to contribute some official components, whether they're third party or not, I don't know, but it's something that we want to like make it easier for Kubeflow users to get started. So there is some momentum and some resources behind contributing some of these components. So
yeah, I mean,
I would be careful about just, we do need to really like, I mean, it's everyone, obviously it's you know, it's the KSC's call in the end, but like I would strongly suggest that we treat this like a new project almost. You know what I mean? That we should be very careful about saying.
I think yeah, but sorry, much to I think what I want to say, I mean, it doesn't stop the next KSC to, for example, decline this change, right? To do other, you know, like modification if we understand this not work for us for long term, right? I mean, the thing is, like, again, we don't want to lose momentum here. And if this red hat is willing to invest resources, or you think that will be better for KFP stability, I don't think we should block this.
Yeah, but that's. I think we should at least go through some of the reviews. I do think.
So, okay, maybe there's a compromise. Like if the KSC is willing to review it to the extent that they feel that this is the right direction, we don't intend to start off with like packaging right off the bat. We just want to get the structure ready and what have you. If the KSC feels that, you know, haven't had a chance to fully like rigorously go through everything, but we like the strategy, we approve it, then we can proceed with the repo and the structure. This also gives you some visibility in how it might look like in practice, and we can even throw an example on there and keep the proposal open, ongoing, and then we can close it out once we get like a full acknowledgement.
Maybe then that's like the technical thing. Maybe we should agree on the technical side, and then the policy side is later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like because I think, you know, we have this open question right now: is the Docker file part of the
Yeah. So
I think it's a good idea, and I'll include it in the CAP, your Docker file.
Yeah, because what I'm saying is, like, it's like we could have separate. Like what I'm saying is I almost also, because the KSC is about to change. You know what I mean? That is the other thing as well. Like the bunch of leads will shift around. So like I don't want to necessarily have big project additions change, but I'm not the one to decide that. The KSC can do whatever the heck they want. But the if what Andre is saying is, I think what the idea is that maybe you want to start working on the technical problems.
Yes.
And then the governance problems are going to require debate, and we should just agree that we don't accept any until we start working on the technical. We agree on the technical design, and then we separately agree on the governance design. If you know.
Yeah, we might.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll seed a couple of examples just so that you can like clearly see how it works. But like we won't cut a release until the KSC is fully agreed on the governance model.
Because again, you would be the governance owners. It's just more like we, not but the KSC. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the question, right? So from the government perspective, you still pipelines working on this repo, right? At least for now.
Yes.
Yeah. So which means like, it's up. Yeah, it's up to you to govern this, right? They decide like, KSC can just, accept or decline any initiatives coming from working groups, but you like the owners files, right?
That's why we should treat it like a project. That's kind of what I'm saying, right? Like that it's kind of like
so we can treat the KFP/components as part of our pipelines working group, right? As a sub-project.
We would maintain like overall the repo, the pipelines working group, but there is the governance of like the components within it. Like,
but that's fully up to you guys as well. Like,
right.
That's what all I'm trying to say here is that like I think it would be in your interest to have these things we're talking about. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of of course, right? And that's the only reason it's being brought up. But like in the end, you guys have control. But like, well, the new repo obviously needs to be created. But
okay.
So sorry, like, so what is? So I know we're time, but what is the deadline from your perspective, like Matt or from like when do you want to move this forward?
As soon as possible is better, because I have resources on the Red Hat side to start building out the repo structure and adding the CI that I propose in there starting next week. So we
do you
don't
want to review that then? So do we just want to agree on that structure then, or maybe, or?
It's all tangled to me. The technical stuff is enforcing like the more of the governance and like how the quality standards, I guess. So it'd be helpful if we had like at least like a tentative +1 from the KSC or some subset of it.
Originally, we had the plan to have a technical steering committee and a overall strategic one. You know what I mean? And then this obviously would be more of a talk type, a question I would say. You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, it's an interesting.
So it looks like, I guess, put me wrong, but like you can do this as soon as you can. So which means like, maybe by, this week we should at least, get this to the KSC and make a decision, right? And maybe any community members can give their, strong
about making the
objections
repo, probably, right?
Yes, I mean, at least the repo, right?
Yeah,
I think
I
that
think
yeah.
like if there's at least
Go ahead.
80% agreement, I feel like we can at least get started, and then we can just take a longer time to work on the finer details.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I guess the question then technically is what we just talked about is like, is the SDK separate? Is this now the KFP SDK repo? Or is this, you know what I mean?
I think this, yeah, this could be decided later from my understanding. I mean, I think like for now, we can just move it as it is, right, to the separate repo. And then we can decide all those technical details later, right?
Yeah.
Also, by the way, shouldn't it be pipelines dash components given the Kubeflow pipelines repo is pipelines?
Sure. Yeah,
Like,
that's
I'm not
fine.
saying that.
In the
I'm just saying
name.
like
We'll do a poll in like Slack or get opinions, but I agree with you. I think pipelines might make more
because
sense.
the existing one is called pipelines, so I'm just
Yeah.
wondering if that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, I'll change
Because
that.
KFP is not like the. I don't know.
You're
It's
right.
almost like the
Yeah.
trademark is Kubeflow say pipelines. You know, like that's kind of.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's duplicating it. Yep.
In the same way that Kubeflow / SDK is the SDK one, and notebooks.
Okay.
You know. Yeah, cool,
So I guess Andre, if you can also like poke KSE folks and get back to us, that would be great.
Yeah, sure. I will ping. I know Julius is here. I will ping Jono and Yuan and Francisco also to make their any objections by end of this week.
Awesome.
And I also will allocate some time to review this and provide suggestions here. But sounds good overall.
Yeah, awesome. All right. Yeah, thanks so much. I didn't think it'd take this long, but
so
please,
yeah, like getting the
do
repo, I
recap.
think is what we should agree on. Yeah. Like. Okay, cool. I'm gonna stop the recording. Everyone can stay if they want. I do need to drop onto a different call, but yes. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.